Hey guys, Rusty K here, getting ready to start the. Actually, turn this a little bit. Getting ready to start the first video of my Build Along with Hunter series. I've opened up the kit already, and you don't need to see me unboxing and everything, but opened up the kits and was trying to hopefully I can get that a little bit better of a view for you, but apparently not. But I've got Hunter's video up here, and I'm going to sort of walk through the engine assembly. I've got my instructions out. I've already viewed this video several times with Hunter, making sure I understand the video. And we're going to go ahead and just get started. This won't be too long. We're just going to get the engine block cleaned up with what he says to do, and let's just follow along here. And Hunter's going to tell us which ones we need to cut off here. Let's go take a look here.
Okay, we got a new blade for the hobby knife. We're going to pop that in there.
I'm going to have to get my file out, I'm sure.
And we're going to need some glue, of course.
We're going to take the Tamiya glue.
Get some of the Tamiya extra thin out here. And like I say, if you go back to the intro to it, or the first part of it, we were showing the different adhesives and stuff like that. You don't have to use this Tamiya extra thin.
Hunter, I'm sure it's very odd watching a video of somebody watching a video of you, but I won't do this for all the videos. I'm going to pause this real quick. So I do remember that when Hunter first did this video, he did make a mistake and had to go back and unglue because he had mistakenly put the Valley. He actually put the engine blocks together before he put the Valley cover starter on. So I'm going to make sure that I cut off the engine blocks here. Let me go ahead and get that done with my sprue cutters here. That one done. That one done. So I'm just sort of ad-libbing here. So I know that I'm going to clean up this spot here. You can always see where you get some. I'm not as good as Hunter with this, but you can see that there's some flashing right there. So we're going to get that all taken care of. Sprue mark, we're going to sand that off. I don't normally do this. I've actually never cleaned up each individual part. If there was an obvious big, big mark or something like that, I would definitely come back and obviously take it off, but I've never really cleaned up parts like this before. So this is a new experience for me. A little more there. I probably need to get a little bit more coarser. There's one side done. I'll put Hunter on while I'm cleaning this up.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and cut off the engine block pieces. So that is part numbers 1 and 3 in this particular kit. And you just want to come in pretty close to your part and snip that off with the snippers. You can leave a little bit of the sprue attachment point on there. I will come in with the hobby knife and just very lightly go over where that sprue attachment point is.
That's what I did there.
And I normally grab a sanding stick. In this case, it's one of the medium sanding sticks. And I'll just clean up that part a little bit.
Now I know I'm going to cut off part number 2 here because this is the one that he did not.
Now we're going to do what they call dry fitting. Dry fitting is where you take two parts, two halves, and you set them together, just setting them together with no glue, and you're going to look at, you know, how much of a seam you've got. If the parts actually line up, sometimes you'll have what they call a step, and that's where one half of your part will be higher than the other half when it lines up on the pins or whatever you have. In this case here, we don't have pins. This is actually a notch that it lines up in.
Yeah.
So
I don't seem to have too many issues there.
what we're going to do is go ahead and
Now he's getting ready to glue these pieces together, but the step that he didn't do, and you're going to see here in a few minutes, he's going to, you know, I'm sure all you guys have went on and saw this. You know, I'm only following along for this first step here just to get the engine glued, and I just sort of wanted to do it on camera. I won't do every video like this. I may just sort of do a little bit on camera, not following his. I won't have his video playing, but I just wanted it to play for the first one here. Showtime Studios, for those of you that don't know Hunter's channel. I need to get my handy dandy ocular support, what I like to call it. See? Ocular support. Okay. So the part that he is didn't do before is part 2 on the sprue, which is this part right here. Cut this off. Clean this up a little bit. It's got a little bit of a notch. Now this does have a sink spot right there, the mold. Sort of see that line. I don't think he filled that in on this because I don't think you're going to see that. So we're going to dry fit it here in a minute just to make sure. Yeah, because that's on the underneath, so that's not going to be seen. So this actually goes in and dry fits. This actually goes in and sits underneath the blocks. Let's take a look here. And how this sits. Let me play his video because he's going to notice it here in a minute, I think.
we're going to put some Tamiya extra thin on this and glue the engine halves together. And with any glues, you don't need a whole lot. And as you notice, I'm gluing on the inside. I tend to do that whenever I can. I like to keep the glue from being on the outside.
So you just sort of dry fitting this together.
Now, the one thing about the Tamiya extra thin is it has capillary action, where if you just touch it to the joint, it'll flow all the way across that joint. So there we have the engine block glued together. Next up, we're going to move on to, let's go ahead and put the oil pan on since it's painted silver also. So we're going to go in and cut that off the part screw. And like I say, for you guys out there, hopefully you don't get bored, but you know, I don't like the fast forward videos. I like to do everything in real time. So these videos may be a little longer. I'm going to try to.
Let me get to where he actually. Because as I'm trying to fit this in, so it's asking here on the directions, and I'm trying to follow along with him the best I can. This piece right here actually seeds in between the engine blocks before you actually glue that together. So you'll see in his video where he actually glues this together and has to come back and put this into place. Now I'm trying to figure out how you actually would glue that in prior to, because I don't see a way for it to sit on anything here. Let me make sure I have my part facing the right way. So if I have this seated like this and dry fitted, I'm not sure how to get that underneath here. Let me see what he does when he fixes it
Couple
here.
parts and getting stuff glued together for each step. Go ahead and dry fit the oil pan and see it'll fit nice and
I'm actually
flush.
fast forwarding here a little bit because I
What I'm gonna
know.
do is I'm gonna flip the block over here.
And this
I'm
is,
gonna take this little bit thicker so my things squared up.
this is where he notices it, I think.
Okay, now we got the oil pan on. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut the lifter valley off of there also. And I'm gonna cut the front cover off. Now, what I did there is something that, as you get more experience, you're able to do. I don't really
Let me,
recommend if you're gluing like the
let me pause this real quick and get this fixed so I can figure this out. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. I realized when he glued these together, he actually did it the proper way until he put the valve covers on. He didn't have the valley cover on before the valve covers, and the valley cover actually goes below. So I can move ahead and move forward with dry fitting this and getting the Tamiya on here. Just taking a look here to dry fit this again. Okay. So I've got my two engine blocks together. I don't have the best camera angle. I'm doing this on the inside of the engine with the Tamiya super thin. This is what he used. And he says he likes to go on the inside. As well, so we're just going to dab some here. Putting this on the bottom here where the oil pan is going to go because okay, so that is glued together. All right, so now I'm going to take my oil pan, was the next thing that he did. Take that off my sprue. Those of you that already went through this series, I'm sure I am boring you to death with this, but I wanted to follow along and follow along with Hunter. So my oil pan now is cut off the sprue. File some of that down. Like I said before, I'm not used to, I guess it's a bad thing, I'm telling on myself really. It's not a good, I haven't really cleaned up parts like this before, but you know what? If you want to have a good build like Hunter says, you've got to do some of the little things that I'm so used to rushing through builds, and that's really what this tutorial is helping me do, is slow down. Take my time. All right, so I've got the oil pan cleaned up. I just basically removed a part of the sprue right there, cleaned that up. So I'm going to get this glued on, and like Hunter says, always make sure you look at your instructions to make sure that the oil pan or part you're using is going on the correct way. So if I take my engine, and I have my engine blocks, I have the opening facing me this way, the oil pan will come up underneath. First I'm just going to dry fit it. And dry fitting is something new to my vocabulary. I've always seen people do it, but I have never done it myself. So I'm just making sure there's no overlap. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Dry fit it up, right? I've got the pan towards the back. So I'm going to take the Tamiya super thin. I should be holding this with my other hand because I'm actually left-handed. Okay, so make sure I still have this going the right way. And we're going to put that into place. That looks good. I'm just going to put a little bit here on the seam. Okay. Not used to talking so much while I'm building, but hey. If you're bored, just tune out. All right, so I've got the oil pan glued on, right? So the next step where he made a little bit of a mistake was he put on the headers, the cylinder heads, on before the valley cover. So this is where I'm going to learn from his mistake, because I watched the video prior to, like a smart man. And I'm going to take this valley cover, put this into place. Right there. See how that fits. Make sure I got it going the right way. I do. Now what I'm noticing, and in the world of Hunter, it's probably going to bother him. So I may need to, oh no, that fits pretty good. All right. Go ahead, run some glue here. Oh, that's probably a little bit too much glue. I need to be careful of that. I have a tendency to use too much glue, hence becoming glue bombs on a lot of my stuff. So we're going to drop this into place. The one thing I have a tendency to do is use too much glue, and then it gets on my fingers, and then I'm touching stuff, and you know, I usually have an issue with that, but trying to be better. So if you notice and you watch Hunter's build, he did all this prior, gluing it all, because it's all going to be the same color. Okay, so I've got the valley. Let me just put Hunter back on here, just for a minute here.
This is probably the part where I need to fast forward to it, because it says it's boring. I'm sure that some of you guys out there watching the video are like, come on, get done with this. This is why my models take a little bit longer also, is because I like to make sure everything fits as good as I can make it fit, especially on a box stock model. Because the basics in your assembly procedures is what makes that model either a good model or a bad model. So now that we've got everything cleaned up, we're going ahead and putting some glue on the second head.
All right, I'm going to cut the headers off while he's doing that, because this is where he sort of makes a mistake.
We're going to check it front to back, make sure everything's lined up and looks good. That looks pretty decent there. Okay. Now that we have that done, I'm going to go ahead and square up the front of the block here, where the timing cover goes on, with the sanding stick.
You know, I didn't do that step there.
Downs out of it.
Let me go ahead and do that. Which portion of that is he doing?
Either a good model or a bad model. So now that we've got everything cleaned up, we're going ahead and putting some glue on the second head. And we're going to glue that into place. We're going to do the same thing pretty decent there. Okay. Now that we have that done, I'm going to go ahead and square up the front of the block here where the timing cover goes on with the sanding stick, just to make sure we got all the ups and downs out of it, and the timing cover sits nice and flat against the heads and the front of the block. And we'll get the timing cover itself cleaned up. A couple little attachment points on it. And there is a mold line on a few of the parts. Like I say, if you see that little line sticking out on your parts, that is more than likely.
All right, I'm going to pause this real quick and do a little bit more on this, and I'll come back and show you where I'm at. Thanks. Okay, I'm back. Had to go off camera for probably about, I'd say about 25, 30 minutes. So I went ahead and completed his first video, and I do have everything together that he did in his first video. And I'll show you, I'll take a look here. Got it all glued together. Let me back up a little bit. I'll tell you one thing. I didn't realize how long it really took to clean up parts. And I probably still didn't do it as well as, obviously I didn't do it as well as Hunter, but I even went in, and this is something that I have never done, and even this tiny part here, I think that is the oil filter right there. I don't know if it's going to focus or not, but I actually went in and let's see if I can find. No, it's not going to work. I hate these things. Anyways, I went in and actually took out the mold lines on this oil filter. And so I've got everything glued together that's in step one here. Cleaned up each individual part, sanded it down where I needed to, and I still see, like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take this out or not. Let me see if I can actually get this to show up. There is a line. Come on. No, it's not going to focus, is it? So the only thing I don't know if I'm supposed to do, and Hunter, you can help me out here, is, let's see if I bring something like this up. No, still not going to do it, is it? So there's like a seam line when you glue the two halves together. So I started sanding that out, but I'm like, is this ever really going to go away? Or is the seam line down where two parts should be solid part where you can sort of see? I really wish this would focus, but it's not going to. Nope. No luck for me for focusing. But anyways, you can barely see them, but you know, I tried to start working on them, and you can even see one back here at the back of the oil pan, where the oil pan. How do you guys get these things to focus? But there's one right here. Let's see if I can. There's one right here. You can sort of see it. It's a seam line where the two pieces come together. So, you know, I'm trying to take my sanding stick and going in there and seeing if I can get that to go away, but I'm not sure if I can. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with that. But as far as my builds go in the past, I have never cleaned up so many parts in my life. And that's something that I really need to get used to. So I apologize for the lengthy video. This is the first one I'm doing, and you know, it's going to be a process. Obviously, I won't have Hunter's videos going every single time, but I wanted to get the first one up and out of the way. I know in the next one he comes back, and this is in primer. The only thing I do not have is I have not gone out and got the Napa primer. Now I do have some of this Tamiya, so I may just use this. Hunter, you can chime in on this as well. If I need to use, if it's okay just to use this primer, or if I should actually go out and get the Napa that you use. That's the only thing I haven't gotten so far. But other than that, this thing appears like it's ready to go in primer. I'm gonna let this dry for a while, and I'll put it in primer. And and we'll move on to the next video. But until next time, guys, I really appreciate you guys hanging around with me and watching. This should be interesting on my end, and hopefully it's interesting on your end. But until next time, have a good one.